Hi, my name is Sudhir Kudva. I go by Sudi.
And Michael Jonathan Riley.
The 715 Club, it's been around for, as far as we can tell, around 50 years before its closing in the early 80s.
From what I understand, was originally the first interracial club to ever open in Denver.
It was a staple in the community. They had a lot of jazz. It's one of those places that if you talk to people in the community, everybody's got a story about it. Some are good, some are bad.
It was opened originally in 1940. Denver was the only stop in between places like LA and Memphis.
Who the landlord's now, we talked to him and he said when he was younger, his mom would have him come run errands here. And he's like, there was a brothel that was running on the upstairs part of it.
Everyone used to play at the Rossonian, and then all those big name artists, you know, Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, those guys used to come drink here afterwards and, you know, chase tail in good times.
And he's like, he would try to sneak up there, but he's like, you know, Charlie Cousins was always been great to him, Caldwell's always been great to him. So there was a very, you know, maternal, paternal kind of aspect around the club.
As the neighborhood declined a little bit, and then it became known as the most violent bar in Denver back in the 80s, which led to it eventually closing. And from what I think it was 1984.
I owned the Squire Lounge in 2004, bought it, just renovated about 3 or 4 years ago. We opened up the Matchbox around 5.5 years ago.
I grew up in kitchens, cooking. I've done every single job there is to do. Chef, dishwasher, managed kitchens. I've then moved on to bars. I started bartending and managing bars.
And Riley and Corey, who are my two partners here, I've worked with them from the Squire for pretty much, or from the Matchbox for pretty much the beginning.
Put in an application and sent an email to Matchbox, and Sudi hired me.
They're awesome. They've always wanted, you know, they've always got the best interests of the neighborhood in heart. They want to own a piece of Denver, you know, have a say in how it goes. Their vision just aligned with mine.
My girlfriend at the time was working at Larimer Lounge, and Corey was door guy in there and managing there, and I was like, we got to steal Corey. Like, he's the best. So he came in, and then we've all worked super well together. We're a big family. Taking his kid to the pool tomorrow. Like, somehow trust me to do that.
Caldwell was like, I don't care what you do with the place, but it's got to be a bar and it's got to be called 715 Club.
When we found out we had a shot at getting this place, there wasn't a concept argument or anything. No, we're just going to reopen 715.
We don't want to call it a remodel. We wanted to call it a restoration. We want to bring it back to what it was.
Everyone's always, what's your concept? What do you want to do?
We're not trying to just frame it up with drywall and just make modern bathrooms and everything. Obviously there's code issues, but our goal is to make it back to as close to the original as possible.
If you want to be a successful business owner, you need to look at the area and step back and say, okay, what's good for the area? And be able to create a concept based on a location.
Keeping the concrete floors, keeping the saves you've seen, the photographs, the old signage, keeping as much of that as possible, but making it for the 21st century and what this neighborhood has become.
If you can't do that in your head and you have to be stuck in one way, then you'll never be successful.
It's always going to be a neighborhood bar, and that's what we always wanted to be. As the neighborhood changes, we want it to grow with the neighborhood, but we never want it to lose its roots.
I think that's kind of a lot of like what Charlie Cousins did as well.
It's a Central Denver institution, and we want to make sure that it doesn't forget that.
He had funded it by throwing dance parties in the warehouse district.
You talk to people in the community who've been here for 30, 40 years, and a lot of it was like, it's not a sadness, they're happy that we're doing something, it's a nostalgia. Talking to somebody who's 60 years old, they're like, I used to be 15 years old, I used to come here with my dad. You know, they came to the arcade, which is now Rosenberg's. They're like, I got my haircut here, you know, and you talk to, especially in the African-American community, they're like, in the 40s and 50s, this is the only place we could own commercial property. So this was our spot.
It has been this looming neon sign that's been busted up with all these memories sitting on a finger of 5 points.
I don't want to see it just torn down. You know, even some of the buildings we like, oh, they're just cinder block buildings, not historically significant. And you talk to people in the community and they're like, it was Zona's tamales. They're like, Zona always used to find something to give a quarter here, a nickel there to a kid to run an errand.
It's been on this corner for almost 100 years. So it's just irrefutable that it's grounded into 5 Points neighborhood.
Right, an institution reborn. So whatever this neighborhood ends up being, which we hope it ends up being a very diverse, multi-ethnic, multi-sexual orientation, multi-age community, we hope it's something for everybody, and we hope the neighborhood embraces it.
I want them to come in that door and feel the same way I did the first time I came in, which is immediately just this weight of history, and you knew you were in a place that had some ghosts.
We'd love to see the neighborhood association have meetings here. We'd love to, what we did at the Matchbox and Squires, look at for local nonprofits and give away the space and have them do their fundraisers here, just to make it intertwined with the community. It's more of a thing that they're part of the community. What can we do to further entrench them in the community?
You feel like you're becoming a part of the next step of the history of the neighborhood.
Riley is persistent as hell. We had a vision that wasn't saying, hey, we want to gut it and make it, something that it's not. All the three of us live in the neighborhood. All the bars that I'm part of are walking distance or biking distance from my house.
Less than a decade, Gabor's, Lancer Lounge, they shut their doors and they got bought out by new money. And these old bars that have been there forever just completely gutted and ripped out, and now they're coffee shops and pizza places and a modern day take on street tacos restaurant or a dispensary.
I plan on bringing my new daughter here at some point, right? I want her to be a bar baby. I want her to be part of the community.
I honestly hope that it is just the melting pot that it can be. There's black neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, and the whole white movement of all the new developments and all that stuff that are just down the road. But then there's also new economic housing going down the road, and you have all these people that already live here and their whole families and history, and hopefully it can be a place that caters to the history of everything, and that everybody can sit down next to one another and be like, that's our neighborhood bar. You want a drink? We're going to 715.
Thank you.
Good job. Congratulations.
Thanks.